Hello. About a week ago, Don't Starve Together got updated with one of the worst updates ever, and I truly don't say that lightly. The skill trees for Wolfgang, Wormwood, and Woody. Before we get into it, note that this is my opinion. With that, enjoy and subscribe. Roll the intro, Jamie. Right, so I'm not going to be talking about the other stuff added in this update. I'll be focusing on the skill trees. This is literally the worst move Clay could have made. Period. Instead of expanding the story, fixing the servers, optimizing the game, reducing the lag in their own servers, adding content to content dry zones, adding uses for obsolete creatures and items that Clay themselves made obsolete as of recent, adding bosses, adding characters, adding quality of life fixes, overhauling the combat system, overhauling PvP, adding voice chat to Don't Starve Together, adding sex to Don't Starve Together, they choose to add skill trees. So what you're telling me is that every character, after going through a rework cycle that lasted 4 years, is going to be getting a skill tree now? What the fuck? Like, seriously, what was the thought process here? You're telling me that the skill tree that was exclusive to Wilson, that kind of made sense for him because, well, he is kind of a scientist, scientists go through experiments and shit, is now being added for, presumably, every character? So Clay just slammed down a triple whammy on the community. The first whammy being skill tree development is going to slow down and bloat update rollouts, potentially delaying real content. The second whammy being a fuck you to Wilson and his fans, taking what little uniqueness he had and throwing it into a ditch. And the third whammy being that all these skill trees are going to confuse the living shit out of new players, directly contradicting the new player friendly thing Clay has been doing for a while now. Who the fuck greenlit this? Whose idea was this?
John, they probably planned the skill trees. Update rollout had probably planned to.
Don't give me that shit. Deadlines are seldom met in the video gaming world. Delays are inevitable. On top of all the shit Clay has on their chores list, they had more stuff. Shoveling more food into their mouth when they didn't even finish chewing the previous meal, if you will. The content inside these skill trees doesn't even matter. It's the thought behind the skill trees I'm mad about. Like I said, Clay's saying and wants to help new players to learn, and then slamming a multi-branched skill tree at them is very scummy. And to old players, adding this fluff to Don't Starve Together to try and artificially inflate its content is also very scummy. How I see it, Clay is trying to expand the audience of Don't Starve Together by ripping away the Don't Starve. And intentionally or not, it's destroying its older player base. It's all up to the player, how much they can bear to see Don't Starve Together get butchered before they turn and leave it for dead. Don't Starve Together is trying to be something it's not. It's trying to become an RPG. Don't Starve Together is not an RPG. It's an uncompromising survival game. It's Don't Starve is what it is. It's a tough as nails game where you try to survive day-to-day life in a hostile world. Adding freaking quest lines to Don't Starve Together is not the way to go. What can we do about this? Nothing. It's added into the game. Nothing can be done. Clay will be adding more and more skill trees until every character has a skill tree. We can now only hope that our favorite characters don't get bad skills. Before we continue, I want to address a few refutes I thought about while writing the script.
Don't Starve Together is a live service game. It's a love or die.
This is a cop-out. I agree, but steering Don't Starve Together into this direction of RPG aspects because it's a live service game is not the way to do it. Clay has options. No one is forcing them to basically rework the characters again. Clay should focus on the story more, and consequently, the atmosphere. It's way too cute, but that's a discussion for another time.
Just don't use the skills in the skill tree.
Oh, that's a guarantee for me. It's other players I'm worried about. If the majority of people use skill trees, then it doesn't really matter if I use them or not. The skill trees mess with the game too much not to notice.
It's good that Don't Starve Together is deviating from Don't Starve. The base game is pretty bad.
Deviation is good sometimes, but it's also important to remember your roots. There are ways to add new content while also respecting old content. Clay managed to do it with the Oceans and somewhat the Celestial Champion. What went wrong as of recent? As older players, we shouldn't stand for this shifting of already set boundaries. Viewer, look, I love Don't Starve Together a lot. I complain about it in hopes to make it better. I complain because I want to see it harden into a perfect game. I don't want to stand idly by while greed or cluelessness or whatever is influencing Clay rips the game I love so much to shreds. The reason I'm talking about this now is because these skill trees are really the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And from what I understand, a solid chunk of the fan base feels this way too. That's about it. Burn a tree and subscribe.